Productions branch office. I am Janessa J. Champagne, North Dakota's trash queen of glam, geek, and gore. Let me zoom in a little bit so we don't see the top of the backdrop. Let's preserve the fabrication of reality that I'm in a relaxing cabin environment and not in the middle of a veritable shit show. All right. Now, things are a little better if you happen to tune into any of my lives over the last few days. You know that a girl's been going through it. Things are a little better today, so that's good. But yeah, just wanted to pop on. And usually this time of day, on Monday, my friend Dion has a live, and so I was wrapping up stuff for my daytime job, and then I was like, I didn't get a notification. I was like, oh yes, hello CJ, how are you doing? I was like, that's right, Dion had a different thing going on in her schedule this week, and so she is live, I believe, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but she is not live today. So I was like, let's go on and have a little live because we got a little bit of new makeup, and we've got hello Mama Champagne, hello Alex. We've got a little bit to talk about because I thought I could show you the package that arrived today, which is the Nomad Cruise Collection, and we could talk a little bit about what I'm going to do with it. And then we're going to look at my Beauty Bay palettes. So you might have seen I had a previous live where I did an unboxing, and it was actually a two-part unboxing because things were acting up. Hello, Janet. How's it going? Hello, welcome. And yeah, so I was like, let's go through. So you saw the ones that I got in my order right before the site shut down. I'm glad I got my order and that it arrived. I've heard rumblings that maybe some people who ordered right before the site got shut down maybe have not received their orders. So I'm very glad that I got, or maybe didn't get all the items. I didn't pay super close attention to the thing that I saw. It wasn't like a super credible news source, so I was not like going to like dig deep into it, but I think they said either that they didn't get their order or they didn't get all of the items in their order. And so I did get all of mine. I remember at the beginning, hello Dion, how's it going? I remember at the beginning, I thought maybe that I didn't get the free gift, but then we had that microfiber head wrap thing that I didn't know how to put on. Hello, people are joining. I'm so glad people are here. Hello, welcome. So let's start with kind of the leader. Let's start with the new makeup. Let's start with the new goodies. And let me start by turning on all chat. I always forget this right away. Let me change from top to all messages just to make sure that I don't miss any. Hello, Ace Boogie. You are beautiful. Hello. Hello. Sometimes I think emojis don't come through because a lot of messages have like a little thing at the front, and I don't know what that means. It's always the same, but it's not every message, it's not every person, and it's not every message from every person. So I don't know if it's an emoji that's not coming through. But let's see if I missed anybody else. CJ is here, Janet's here, Alex is here, Mama Champagne is here, Dion is here, Ace Boogie is here. Janet, I think I already said that, but she's here. Grace is here. Hello, Grace. I'm Bella. It's my dad's. Hello, Bella. Nice to see you. Yeah, hello, welcome. Glad you are here. Let's get into the first thing, which is the Nomad Cruise Collection. So I decided to go ahead and order. I just ordered the bundle, as I am known to do, because there were two big highlighters, and they are big beasts. They are big highlighters, and I got the two palettes, and we're gonna talk about. I haven't decided if I want to do. If I had a plan at first, and now that I see the palettes, I don't know if I want to do the plan. So let's go with the first one. So this is the packaging. Very cute, very nautical. Yeah, Dion, I don't know what that is. It's weird, but yeah, sometimes it shows up and sometimes it's not. This is Sunset Cruise. Sunset Cruise. It's backwards. You probably can't read it. And so there it is, like shades of gold. This is very fun. I don't know if there's a good way to swatch this. Probably not. I'm going to try to get it with the side of my finger. Let's see if we can just do a big ol' swatch. Probably didn't do that justice, but you can see there's lots of different gold and copper and bronzy kind of shades all together. This is really beautiful, especially for people who have more of like a tan, deeper complexion. This could be really beautiful, like highlighters or added in with a bronzer. I think if you are a little bit lighter and you like to do kind of like a bronzy Malibu kind of look, I think that some of the deeper shades could work in with the bronzer if you like a glowy blonde bronzer, and then the lighter shades are maybe a little bit more up your alley for highlighter and stuff. But yeah, just some beautiful, beautiful kinds of tones. And then if you are a ghostly beast like me, let's look at the second one. I've got this micro. I don't know how I feel about these microfiber cloths. I got like a 2-pack at TJ Maxx, I think. I like them for swatching. I don't know if anybody else has these. Are you a fan? Um, with a wide brush, one swipe, have bronzer, blush, and highlight. True, yeah, that you absolutely could. So this is Sunrise Cruise. Oh, and it says it on the front too. So this is Sunrise Cruise. And this you can see, definitely there is some range here. You got from like white with pink reflect all the way up to like a deep, deep pink. And so you do have some range here as well. Let me see if I'm just trying to get these in kind of like one swipe, and then if I want to pick up some of the individual colors. But just kind of a fun. I like these when they're kind of like a big brick and you can get a whole bunch of different colors. Pretty girl. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting mix. And so I like that there's several colors. You can kind of build up one of them if you want. Too many microfiber cloths. Oh, yeah, I don't know how I feel about them. I am kind of a fan of, I usually have some kind of towel here so that when I'm just like playing around, I can do what I want to do. I don't even know. That sentence didn't even finish in my brain. Hello, KK. How are you doing? Yes, the Bobbi Brown one. She has the big like shimmer blocks. Like it is kind of like that. And I do like that with this one because sometimes with these blended like ombre pans, I like hello. I do like when there's enough like the part that's this color is big enough that you could get a brush into this, like you could get a decent sized brush into this color and just do this color or this color or this color or this color. So I do like that. I do like that it's big enough that even though, because usually I don't like products that are all like multiple colors in one pan because it's hard to isolate, but I feel like these are big enough. I've already lost the brown one. What did I do? Right here. Okay, sometimes I'm just blind. And so here, like this one, the stripes, again, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's spots kind of like right on the edge where they kind of blend a little bit, but there's like 4 distinct colors in each of these. And I appreciate that they are big enough that you could get a good size brush, because I don't want to have to do my highlight with like a tiny little buffy, like a little fluffy eyeshadow brush and have to like do, I like that I could get like, this one's dirty, but like a brush this size, I could easily get that into one of the little stripes. I think that's pretty good. All right, so let's take a look at the palettes, and then we're going to talk about what I had been thinking about, but I don't know if that's going to be such a good idea anymore, and let's talk about why. So this is the first one. This one is Coastal Cruise. This is the mattes. So here we have, it's kind of nice matte packaging. Again, it's got this nautical cruise sort of theme. And here are the shades. And you can see we've got kind of monochromatic, deep, medium, and light shades. So if you wanted to do kind of a yellow brown, if you want to do a green, if you want to do a red to orange, like a bricky kind of color, if you want to do a blue, and then we've got the like black and gray. The only thing about this is, oh, I'm about to have some lunch. Well, Dion, we appreciate you. Glad that you stopped in, and I know that you may not chat as much, but glad to see that you are here. And so if you drop out of chat, we'll know why. So these are the mattes, and now let's look at the shimmers. The shimmers are gorgeous. Gorgeous. Well, thank you, Boogie. I'm so glad that you decided to join us tonight. You could hit that subscribe button and stick around. Shameless self-promotion. But here we go. Here are the shimmers. Look at these gorgeous, gorgeous shimmers. And if you've used Nomad Cosmetics, you know that their shimmers are absolutely gorgeous. They're absolutely stunning. They do really great shimmers, some that have really beautiful shifts to them. So they are really, really, really good with the shimmers. Now, you'll notice in the palette that there are little, see these little dips, because you could take a tool. I have like one of these little magnets from Blend Bunny, or you could take a little thing and you can actually remove them right out of here. So these are fully customizable. And that, when they sent the launch announcement, that's what they said, is they said, you know, we've got one palette. We've got one palette that's all shimmers. We've got one palette that's all mattes. But if you wanted to, they're like, if you just want mattes, you can order the matte palette. If you just want shimmers, you can order the shimmer palette. But what you could do if you order them both is you could easily create 2 custom palettes that, you know, you can create your perfect palette. Just kind of rearrange these the way that you like them. And that's what I was initially going to do. And I don't know, but in person, I feel like these are so muted that I feel like, even though I will use these together and I will bring shimmers from this into the mattes from this, I feel like this I'm much more likely to have as like a companion palette, because sometimes I like to just have like a palette like this that's all shimmers and then combine it with the Blend Bunny Blends palette, which is all mattes. And then I can do whatever I'm choosing to do, like whatever monochromatic or, you know, pairing of matte shades from the Blend Bunny. Then I can bring in a palette like this and do all of my shimmers, because I do love shimmer. I am a big shimmer fan. I always got to have a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of shine in all the looks that I do. So I think I'm going to keep this as is, so that it's easier for me to take the ones that I want from here and combine with other matte palettes. I think if I split it up into 2 palettes, I think I'd be less likely to grab this. And I think that yeah, and I agree with you, Kay. I think that once I see these, and I feel like the swatches that I saw in people's videos, maybe they don't look as like muted on the skin, and maybe I'll do, maybe that'll be one of my upcoming play days, is maybe we'll do a look with these to see, because I feel like the swatches, because I don't like this word, because I know this word has kind of connotations, but I feel like this looks not in the worst way. I feel like they look dusty. You know what I mean? Like they look a little, I don't want to say like ashy, but they look a little dusty. Like they look like they're going to be very muted, very kind of sedate. And I feel like that's not what I saw in people's videos. So I was really surprised when I opened this up and it looked, and so when you put the next to these, I mean, these look like 2 different palettes. These do not look like the mattes that you would normally find in a palette with these kind of shimmers. Or you might find a couple of them, but you'd have a couple more like impactful, vibrant mattes. That's why I think this would pair really nicely with the Blend Bunny blends. If you've seen, I don't think I have my blends palette handy. Let me see. I did just kind of, I'm still in the rearranging process. We're getting further along, but I just feel like this would pair really beautifully with the blends palette, because those are much more impactful. Yeah, this is very spring, summer. This one is very winter, because it's much more that kind of muted. And the colors are pretty, but they're just a little muted, a little dusty. So I think I'm going to keep these separate. I think I'm not going to combine them. I had planned, I was going to do like a whole post on janessaj.com and show you the before and after. And while I'm sad that I don't get to do that post, I think it's just the better choice to keep them separate. But yeah, I am excited to play with those, especially those shimmers. The shimmers look stupid good. They look real good. These shimmers, I mean, and some of these, I'm not swatching these just because I might take a picture of the highlighters, and those I don't care if they've been used, but especially for eyeshadow palettes, I like to take the pictures before I've done any swatching if possible. And so I want to take, in case I do any kind of poster review where I need pictures, I do want to take pictures of these before I. So let me put these into, I have kind of in my set of drawers over here, I have kind of my like upcoming play day stuff. If there's stuff I know I want to play with, I put them in here. Nomad's Fairy Tale Europe palette, only neutral mattes and colorful shimmers. Yeah, I struggled. I did a look with that Fairy Tale Europe palette, and I really, really liked it when I first saw it. And I think that when I tried to combine the mattes with those shimmers, the mattes were just so dusty and like very neutral, but also just like not even just that they were neutral, but you can have neutrals that have a little bit more like vibrance, like maybe vibrance isn't, but like a stronger color, and then some have a more muted color, and these feel more muted, and that Fairy Tale Europe felt more muted, and I struggled with that look. I struggled a lot, so I'm feeling like it's going to be a little bit like that again, so I think I want to keep the shimmers to themselves so that I can use it as a companion palette with multiple palettes and not just the other one. Oh, I'm knocking things over. I still have that one. I haven't decluttered. I've been thinking about doing an update to my Nomad ranking, so I haven't decluttered anything from Nomad for a little bit. I don't think we did if I did, I didn't do that palette because that was still one of the newer ones. Should we talk about Beauty Bay? So if you saw in my previous lives, I did have an order from Beauty Bay not too long before their website went offline. And I was watching, Jen Love covered it in her last What's Up in Makeup, and they have officially filed for administration, which is the UK's version of bankruptcy. And so they are in like a bankruptcy situation. The website has gone offline, which is kind of a bummer. I've got this mirror and it's so loud and I just want to touch it, but I know that I shouldn't because it makes too much noise. I love the older palette of Nomads, the Verona Amore Morte. Yeah, that one. I love that one. I love the color story. I love the concept with the two doors that open. We have a palette we're going to look at that does that in a little bit. But yeah, I loved that one. But I did get some hard pan with that. I agree with you. That was something that happens on and off with some of Nomad shadows. I don't know what it is. I haven't noticed, like, it's not like it's a particular kind of color. It's not like it's always blues or always reds or always, whatever. But I just noticed that I do kind of get hard pan from time to time. Not in every shade in a palette, but like occasionally, like in a palette, I'll get a couple shades that start to go a little hard pan. It's a little bit iffy. I don't know why that is. But yeah, so I have, so I had that order that I placed that I did get. Like I said, I've heard some rumblings that maybe people aren't getting all of their items or aren't getting their orders. I did get my order and I did get all of my items. But I have quite a few Beauty Bay palettes, and I had talked about that I'm probably going to do at some point like a Thunderdome ranking now that I've got the new ones. Once I play with them a little bit and have a little bit more of a sense of how they compare to the other ones. We may do a Thunderdome where we talk about Beauty Bay, but we've got a lot of stuff. I like their packaging. Beauty Bay has kind of been, to me, and it's sad that they're kind of going the same direction because I always thought of them as like the British Morphe without being like problematic like Morphe, because the founders of Morphe were kind of problems. They were sort of problematic and a little bit sketchy and made some interesting choices. And Beauty Bay, I mean, nobody knows who the people behind Beauty Bay are. So like there were no scandals like that. But I just like their packaging, and they're like inexpensive but good quality. Like Morphe, some of their stuff was questionable quality. Look at my hair. My hair is all over the place. They were kind of questionable quality, but they did all right. Morphe, and they had some bangers. They had some things that were really good. And Beauty Bay overall, I felt like it does seem and feel a little bit like cheaper makeup, but I felt like even the quality was more consistent than Morphe. But they felt like that sort of Morphe where they had their own cheaper store brand, but they also carried a bunch of other brands. And so I always really, really like it. The skin après ski, Chamonix, I think is how you say it. Chamonix après ski. I did try that one and I loved it. If you see any of my TikToks or any of my like posts where I used the Phase It freckles with the snowflakes, and I did this kind of blue green look, I think, or maybe it was blue and pink, and I had a blonde, like a bleachy blonde wig on. That was the Chamonix après ski, and that's one of my favorite looks. I absolutely love that one. It's so good. So yeah, so let's take a look at the Beauty Bay. So we do have 3 of these little small palettes. So they did have palettes in different sizes. So the ones that I got in that last order were the big 42 pan, and like a 42 pan palette for $6 or $12. Are you kidding me? When I know it's probably going to be pretty good quality, of course I'm going to do that. Yes, CJ, thank you. Don't forget to hit that like button. We appreciate it. Love to see those likes coming in. So this is the pastels. And here is the pastels. So very pretty. Now these 3 palettes, they're not the same, but there is some like, there's some where I'm like, those feel like they could they're kind of duplicates. Now again, most places don't, like makeup enthusiasts, makeup nerds like us who sometimes buy duplicates of things, or like we have to have every palette from a brand. Not everybody, but I sometimes have a little bit of a completionist thing. Some of these shades are going to look kind of similar. I do think a lot of them are different enough, but I think for like the average makeup user, would they have needed all of these? Of course not, because here's the pastels. Then we have the Utopia. And this one is, again, kind of like, so the pastel, this is much more vibrant, much more neon. And this one is a little bit more of kind of off colors. Because then let's look at the Techna Days 1991 palette. And this is, so the pastels was all matte. And so you can see these are very, very similar. But I think they're different enough. And this one actually has shimmers. So of the 3 palettes, this is the only one that has shimmers. And then we have the Utopia, which is a brights palette. But you can see this one, it has a little bit more of a twist on it. So, but again, some of these greens are very similar. Am I ever going to have too many greens? Never. I don't. The limit does not exist. The limit does not exist. I can never have too many green shadows. But so they're all of the same vibe. I think all of these palettes work really well together. I think you could combine any 2 of these or all 3. But those are the 3 little mini palettes that I have from Beauty Bay. And then we have a couple of collab palettes. So the first one, my brand review, that's the next. So as we've been talking about, I have been going on a mental health journey. The next time I have a filming day, I just have been like, I've been too tired. I've been too out of it, too like unhappy. And so I just have not had a filming day, and I've got videos that I need to edit. But the next time I film, hand to God, it's going to happen. I'm filming the Made by Mitchell brand review. Well, before he launched Made by Mitchell, Mitchell had a collab palette, me, myself, and Mitchell with Beauty Bay. And I did pick this up. And this is kind of an interesting design because this has this removable mirror. It's a double-sided mirror, and it's got a magnet that just like clunks in the middle. If anybody remembers the Urban Decay Backtalk palette, it's very similar to that where it's got the mirror. And then we have 2 sides that have very like warm tones. Down here we've got some pinks, some oranges, a little bit of red, some yellow, and then up here we've got some of our cool tones as well as some neutrals. So this was a fun palette. Now, could there have been more of the cool tones? Absolutely. I love cool tones. I'm here for the cool tones. So this is pretty, but it got a little bit warm for me. And then you just tuck that mirror again right in the center, and then you close it up and it just snugs right in there. And then, yeah. So that's one of the 2 collab palettes. The other one, Beauty Bay, I mean, they were collabing with some of the heavy hitters at the time, Nikki Tutorials. This is the one when, I forget who mentioned the, was it Alex that mentioned the Verona Amor Morte palette from Nomad? Because this has that kind of double door where this is the Nikki Tutorials, and it's kind of a lighter, pinkier, peachier, happier side, and then a little bit deeper, more somber tones, and then kind of this row in the middle that's a little bit of both. Excuse me. So there is the Nikki Tutorials palette. Now, I had played around with this and I thought it was okay. I did feel like it was not the best. I feel like it was not. I feel like I had a couple of the 42 pan palettes and I was like, this isn't quite the same. But I did like the packaging. I loved the colors were kind of interesting, but I felt like the quality was a little off. Then we've got some, so those are the two collab palettes that I have. And let me see, I'm trying to make piles here that are not going to just immediately fall over. That's my life. So then we have some of the smaller, these size palettes. So these are, what are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are 20 pan palettes. It's so weird to see a palette this small and just be like, oh, it's 20 shades. They do a good job of packing a lot of color into these. This is the Dark Fantasy. I love this packaging. I thought this was really cute. And the colors inside are pretty good. Like we've got some beautiful greens. We've got some more blue, kind of cooler, a little bit of purple. And then we do have some neutrals sprinkled throughout and then these greens. So I thought this was fun. For Dark Fantasy, this felt pretty good. I felt like there could have been more deep, like matte shades and even like deeper shimmers. Because we've got this dark, dark navy blue. We've got this dark teal. We've got this kind of blackish gray. It's called Dark Matter. I think it's supposed to be a black, but it looks like a chalky black, if we're being absolutely honest. We do have a couple on the deeper side of these browns. This one maybe edging into a deeper, this is more medium to me. So these aren't from the most recent order. So we'll get to the ones in the most recent order. This is just my whole Beauty Bake collection. So yeah, this one hasn't been online in a long time, as far as I know. So I've had this one in my collection for a while. Yeah, so I don't, so that order, I don't know when I ordered those. The ones that I got are all the big 42 pan palettes, and those are the ones that were still in stock, because they didn't have a lot of stuff in stock, and they were doing a lot of clearancing, because they were going into bankruptcy. And so there's those. Then we have the Wilderness palette. I do like this one. And this is, I used this for a couple things, and I kind of made a little bit of a mess out of it, but this I thought was really, really fun. I love that they had like water, and then these kind of foresty colors, and then these kind of like fall foliage or fire. I really thought that this was a beautiful collection. It doesn't really have a true yellow to be like a true rainbow palette. There's not really any purple, but it does give you all of your like primary colors. And so it's close, but you can get these really kind of earthy, kind of fun colors. So I like that. Then we've got Botanical, and I don't know if this is supposed to be, we're going to see a 42 pan called Botanical later. I don't think that these are, because sometimes they did the same name in like 3 different sizes. They would have like a 9 pan, a 16 or 20 pan, and then a 42 pan. I don't think that's what they did with this. I thought this was a release by itself, but in that last order that I did, I got a 42 pan palette that was called Botanical, and it is kind of similar to this. So I'll bring this back out when we get to that one. But here is, you can see these are a little bit more muted shades, but we've got some greens. We've got some of those peachy orange, terracotta kind of shades, a little pop of purple, this kind of like gunmetal silver with maybe some blue reflect. So nice colors, beautiful colors, but a little bit more of that kind of dusty kind of finish, a little bit more of that more muted kind of shades. Yeah, I hope they can too. I'm really kind of bummed. And I, like everybody, missed out on that. Do you remember they had that one that went like kind of viral? And it was like the Sorcery palette. I think it was like a Halloween release. And then then everybody wanted it, and they had said it was limited edition, and like they were getting kind of harassed online about, are you going to bring this back? But then people, you know how people are. If a brand is like, oh, this is really popular, we should bring it back, then you've got the like tryhards that have to be like, we were told this was limited edition. How dare you get your hands on it, you filthy person? Like, it's just too much. So they brought out this one. So this was the one that came out the next year, which is the Age of Opulence. And it was a very different theme, but it's absolutely the same kind of color story. So this one has a little bit more neutral to it, but if you remember that sorcery palette, I think there was more of the blues and the purples. This one, they swapped out some of the blues and purples for a few more of these kind of neutrals, but it's the same kind of situation where we've got a lot of these like more orchidy kind of purples, these royal blues into kind of more of these like cyan blues, like a deep cyan, and then they added in some of these beautiful neutrals. So that was kind of their like redo on the sorcery palette. And I bought it because I was like, well, I like this. I don't know if I like it that much, but I missed out on the sorcery palette, so I better buy that one. Oh, now we are going to get into all of the 42 pan palettes. So the first ones, I think the ones that I just got in are all at the bottom. So these are ones that I had before. Before we do, because we have Bright 2.0. This is kind of ridiculous. This is a little bit excessive because I do have Bright 2.0. I have Bright, and I have Bright Matte. So these three I've had for a long time. Let's set Bright 2.0 down, and then let's look at, because I don't know why, and I've thought about decluttering, but I just am like, you know what, especially now that they're in bankruptcy and I don't know what's going to happen, I'm like, well, I should hold on to these because this is, oh, pretty girl. This is Bright. So this has a mix of matte and shimmers, and you can see it's a beautiful, beautiful rainbow palette. It's got 42 pans. And this we have a mix of matte and shimmer. Then we have the Bright Matte palette, which is the exact same color story, except every single shade in here is matte. And I wasn't really sure when I was placing the order. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna, because at the time these went up to like $25 or $28. I think at the time these were $20 a piece. And so I was like, and there's always like coupon codes and there's always different things. So I was like, for $20 a piece, I'm gonna order both of these because I wasn't sure. But it turns out that yes, there are duplicates. Hello, Allison. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. It turns out that in the Brights and the Bright Matte palette, there are duplicates. All of the mattes that are in the plain Bright palette are also in this palette. So anything that's a matte in this palette is also in this palette, the exact same shade, the exact same name. And then the only thing that's different is any of the shades that are any of the shades in here that are shimmers are mattes in here, and they have a different name. So it's roughly the same color, but it's a different formula. So let me swatch a couple to show you what I mean. So in this pink row, this one, this third one down, this is the Bright Mattes palette. So this is the matte version of this shade, and this is called Cosmopolitan. And so that's just like a beautiful bubblegum pink. In the other palette, in the Brights palette, this one is actually a shimmer, and it's called Flamingo. And so let me go ahead and swatch that. And so you can see they're roughly the same color, but anything that was a shimmer got replaced with another matte in the Bright Matte palette. But if it was a matte in here, the exact same shade with the same shade name is in there. So there is a bit of duplication. So, I mean, now you can't buy them anyway, but if you did find them on like Mercari or something, if you were looking around on eBay, if you were wondering about that, there are duplicates between those two palettes. Then they came out with the Brights 2.0, and so that's this one. I love this packaging. I love this bright chartreuse with this kind of electric orange red. Beautiful. And here you can see a very similar sort of thing, another big rainbow palette, but they're a little bit twisty. They've got a little bit of a twist on them. Let me see if I get, these are so big, trying to hold two at once is such a mess. But I love a mess. I love being a mess. So let's, ooh. So the top is the original Bright. The bottom is Brights 2.0. So you can kind of see how these are a little bit more, these almost have like a little bit more bright neon kind of situation. These are a little bit more your normal, just like Crayola crayon shades, and these, they go a bit brighter, a bit more vivid. And so that was kind of the difference between bright. Again, would anybody need all three of these if you're not a monster like I am? Probably not. But, you know, I love a rainbow palette. I love a cheap palette. Then we got into that kind of copies Adept and Natasha. Yeah, some of those smaller palettes. Then they started doing the like the plasticky packaging. Did you say you didn't care? It says I did care, but I think you meant you didn't care for it. Or maybe you did like it. I didn't like it. I was not a fan. And I know that some brands have started to go to that, and I don't want that packaging. I love a cardboard palette. I don't think there's anything wrong with a cardboard palette, especially if you're doing like bargain makeup. I don't think putting bargain makeup in fancier plastic packaging does you any favors, because at the end of the day, it's still cheap makeup. So, so that's how I feel about that. Then, do you remember when they had that big to-do? So these three go together: Earthy, Midnight, and Berries. And this was the weirdest release because I don't know if something got delayed. I don't know if something happened, because when they released it, so Midnight, this is when they did the like same palette, like a version of the same palette in like a 42 pan, a 20 pan, and a 9 pan. Or 16. I think it was 16. I think it was 4x4. So like 42, 16, or 9. The Earthy palette came in 42, 16, or 9. The Berries palette, when they first launched, only came in 16 and 9. So this one then got released later. So I don't know if this was always planned and it just got delayed and they didn't want to push the release. So they just released with the two big palettes and all the three of the other two sizes. But this one did come out later. And so then I picked it up, and because I did buy the 16 pan Berries, but I decluttered it and got this one. Oh, pretty girl. Yeah, I don't like when Beauty Bay switched out. And actually, even with the last order that I got, I love this kind of look. I love this font. I love this like block lettering, the way they did the colors. I think that this is really good. And like, I think some of the palettes that I got in my last order were from an updated round, and I don't even like that packaging as much. So like, they started to go to some like with the more plastic packaging, and even some of their cardboard stuff, the way they changed it up isn't as good. But let's look at the 42 pan. This is the Berries palette. As you can see, a monochromatic dream. If you want a monochromatic purple, if you want a pink, if you want a red look, you've got pretty much everything you could need in here. These are the more orchidy, red-based purples. So purples that lean a little bit more red are all in here. If you are like me and you prefer a blue-based purple, then you were probably looking at the Midnights palette. So here you can see the Midnights palette. Again, it's not a monochromatic palette, but it's almost like two monochromatic palettes shoved together, because we've got like a blue monochromatic and then a purple. When there's so many shades, if you did 42 just blue shades, that would probably get a little crazy, a little boring, right? So here you can see, if you liked those, there are some that lean a little bit red, but it's mostly the more kind of neutral purples where they're more evenly balanced, or they're kind of more of a blue toned purple. And then we've got all of these beautiful, beautiful blues. And then, of course, we have the Earthy palette. Who would ever be surprised that I would buy the green? 'Twas a foregone conclusion. And here you can see with the green palette, we get a lot of greens. And then just to give us that variety like they did in the others, we get maybe a couple bricky, orangey, mustardy, but it's mostly gold and brown. So with the green, you get a lot of neutral brown, gold kind of contrast, and then a couple of these more really warm, not like fiery reds, but you get much more like muted, bricky, red, mustardy, brown kind of shades. So that's going to be the Earthy palette. Now, the last four are the ones that I got in that last order. So these are the ones that were on super clearance. They were two of them were $6 and two of them were $12. So for palettes that were already kind of a bargain, this was already an additional bargain. So the Fiery, so this one still had the old. So this is the Fiery 2.0. Hello, Tanya. How are you doing? Welcome. We're talking through my Beauty Bay collection. And so this one, no surprise, fiery. We've got a lot of red, yellow, orange, and then we do have a couple of these more neutral rows. So there we go. So that is fiery. And this one, it's still got the fun. So this, some of them, they would like circle the title around. I liked that. I liked this where they had the dual, where, and then like this one is fun. But I liked these where the palette had a color that went with the palette, and then the writing was bigger and blockier. And these are the ones that I really like the packaging. And I think that all three of these palettes, I think, had versions that looked like that, but apparently these were more like updated runs because they were in a like different packaging. Because here is the botanical. So they moved to just this plain black, and you can see it's really dirty. I always have oily fingers, and so like it gets dirty much easier, this plain black. The blocky lettering, there's something about this lettering that I really like that's not the same here. This just looks like a boring, I mean, I hate to say it, but it looks kind of private label-y. And then everything else is in like little white text over here, the Beauty Bay. And then they have the color on here, but I wanted the color through here. I wanted it to look like the other ones. So this is the botanical palette. So now let me grab that botanical, the small one, and we can do a comparison to see if it looks like this is meant to be a smaller version of this big palette. So many palettes stacked precariously. All right, so here is the 42 pan botanical palette. So here you can see with this one, we've got, again, lots of beautiful greens, very kind of muted greens, definitely more kind of leaning blue tone. We have a couple that are a little bit more yellowy tone. We do have one kind of plummy shade up here. We have a couple of these orangey shades, but very like neutral. So this is the 20 pan botanical. I was going to look at a couple of the shade names to see if they seemed. I don't, just glancing. Oh, myrtle. There is myrtle in both of these. So I think this is maybe like a smaller version of this palette. So here you can see they do look very, very similar. And this dark green shade is called Myrtle. And I did find a dark green shade right here. This one up top is Myrtle. They look maybe a little different. I don't know that they look quite exactly the same, those two greens. So this green and then this green. Hopefully you can tell where I'm pointing with the side of this. But I think, so I don't know if it's exactly supposed to be a smaller version of this palette. I would have to go through and see if I can find all of the shades. Trying to get the motivation to film a video, but I'm so tired. I hear you, Tanya. I hear you. Finding the motivation to film has been tough, and I still have things to edit that were pre-filmed. I'm so behind, but I'm getting back into it. We're digging ourselves out of the hole. It's happening. Then we have the neutral palette. So this is the neutral palette, and this is just beautiful, beautiful. Very like true neutral. There aren't really that many warm shades in here. I like this one because I like that it is like either stuff that is true neutral, or if it leans one way or the other, it leans a little bit cool. So they're more like cool tone neutrals. So I really do like that. I like that we've got this mix because, you know, there's a couple like this brown maybe looks like it's a little reddish. Could be a little bit warm leaning, but none of them are very, very like chocolate warm, browns are warm kind of things. They're all very neutral to cool tone, which I really, really like. And then we have the rich. She's rich. And this one is in between a neutral and a berry. So like it's got a lot of neutrals, and it has, so these more like warm neutrals here. Like this is what I mean by more of like those warm, again, trying to hold two of these at the same time. What am I doing with my life? Okay. So you can see the top is the neutrals. And I think when you see them kind of next to each other or at the same time, you can see that down here, it's much more warm toned, whereas these are much, much more cool toned. So this is the rich palette that's got these more warm tones, but still very neutral, still very bronzy brown kind of things. You need to trim the lace on a wig. So let me tell you, I wore hard front wigs for years and years and years, and I didn't. Lace front wigs used to be so expensive, and so like only the really fancy professional drag queens had lace fronts that you could get that were styled and all of that. And now like that's kind of the thing. Like nobody has hard front wigs anymore, which kind of hurts my heart. But trimming the lace on a wig still, I like every once in a while. My wig lady Acacia Forgot, she will sell some of her pre-used wigs where she'll clean them up, she'll wash the lace, and she'll like spray them down and stuff like that. I love to do that because trimming the lace on a wig gives me so much anxiety. I cannot handle it. It just stresses me out. I just feel like I'm going to do it wrong and I'm going to ruin this expensive, stupid wig that I bought. So I'm always worried about it. Let's see here. Let's stack these up. So that is my Beauty Bay collection. We've got a ton of Beauty Bay. So again, at some point I may declutter some of these, but I think obviously I'm going to wait until I do like a ranking, because we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 10 just of the 42 palettes, 420 eyeshadows. What? Then we have 4 of these, the 20 pan. We have Botanical, Age of Opulence, Wilderness, and Dark Fantasy. So that's 14, 15, 16 with our 2 collab palettes. And then, excuse me, 17, 18, 19 if we include the mini palettes. So I've got enough to do a pretty decent, I need to play with those new ones a little bit more. But we know, like, and especially Beauty Bay, I do have to say that Nikki Tutorials felt like it was maybe a slightly different formula. But for the most part, I feel like the standard of quality across the palettes was pretty consistent. And so I don't necessarily feel like I would have to, a lot of it is going to be preference. So many of these Thunderdomes, there's a lot of these brands that they're just kind of consistently good. And so then it just kind of comes down to my preference. So if you're not interested in that, you can let me know. If you're just like, oh, we're sick of your Thunderdomes, you can let me know. Or if you like the Thunderdomes, if you want a Thunderdome of the Beauty Bay, if you want an updated Thunderdome of Nomad, because Nomad's been a few years, and I think I've decluttered quite a few from that first one, and now I've gotten more palettes from the newer collections, so it would be almost a very different ranking, because I don't know how many of them would still be consistent with ones that I had there. So if you're interested in those, you can let me know. If you're not interested, you can let me know. I may just do it anyway. I mean, I am a creature of whim, and so if I get the urge to talk about Nomad, I'm going to talk about them. But sometimes it's good to know if people want. You love palette videos. Do you love ranking palette videos? Some people love like collection videos and those kind of stuff. But sometimes once you get into ranking, then they get all up in their feelings. So let me know if people love their palette videos, because I could definitely think about doing that. This caught my eye. I forgot I had this sitting here. This is the Makeup by Mario. I thought I had decluttered this, but I found it in my collection when I was going through stuff. These are those metallic paints where you can kind of use them as is. Like you can like swatch, but that you can add a mixing medium and it's just like liquid metal. It's so cool. I need to play with that more. I need to play with everything more. I need more time for makeup. Yes, more updated Thunderdome. Yes, we can absolutely do more updated Thunderdomes, because there's a few, like Blend Bunny. I would love to do another Blend Bunny. Declitted. Luxaria has started. So I watched Luxaria, who's a YouTuber who does reactions to like America's Next Top Model and other like reality shows. And she does a lot of cutaways like Novimpia does, but one that she's been using lately, I don't know where it comes from, but I think it's somebody who's like at Subway and they keep calling things a clit. So they'll just be like, oh yeah, a little clit of lettuce, just a little clit of lettuce. Yeah, a clit of tomato. And it's like, but I don't know the context, because she always just uses them as this like this little cutaway. And so she knows where it's from, but I don't know where it's from. And then every once in a while, she'll do like a references video where she explains where they're from and what they mean and why she chose them and all that kind of stuff. So I'm interested for the next references video to come out because I want to know what a clod of lettuce is from. But yeah, so that's, sorry, and I keep just taking slugs off of this big old jar of water. But I'm still dry. I'm still fighting this little bit of a cold. I was getting better. So over the weekend, can we also talk about the fact that over the weekend, I was getting better and getting better and getting better. And this morning, I like crashed out. And I honestly, I think that my body was like rejecting the idea of coming to work. Like, I think my body was just like, what if we just stayed in bed forever? What if that was a thing? What if we never went back to that place ever again? Oh, yeah. I have seen some of her old collabs with Rolly. I'm a little bit newer to Luxaria because I got into Novimpia first. And so then Novimpia had a couple of videos where they had Rolly and Luxaria join them on their videos. And so that's kind of how I found her. So I found her pretty recently. And so she had already kind of they had their own channels and they did some kind of collab and did stuff together, but they started doing more separate. And she of course moved to Spain now, so they don't really create videos much together anymore unless one of them is traveling. But yeah, so I like some of Rolly. I like Luxaria better. Rolly is sometimes a little too much for me, but I do enjoy the little Rolly cutaways that are in Luxaria's videos. Bugging me about Sundays in April. Allison, for you, anything, my heart. I part of my whole like mental health journey is I've realized that I say yes to too many things, and that's something that has always been a problem for me, is that I say yes to too many things. And it's things that I love, and eventually I enjoy doing them, but I also just like I clutter up my time with so many things that then I also have less time for like self-care and just like chores and housework. And who wants to do that anyway? But when you live alone and you don't have the budget for a housekeeper, you do sometimes have to make time for that because, and I've never been a good housekeeper anyway at the best of times, even when like my time isn't going all over the place. Like everything, I just live with the knowledge that there will always be a thick layer of dust on some part of my house, because I do go through phases where I'll just like suddenly randomly I'll be like, I'm just gonna dust until I can't stand it anymore, and I'll just start in the living room and I'll start like in one corner and I'll just go through like 2/3 of like the perimeter of the room, and then I'll get tired and I'll stop. And so then those 2/3 are like shiny and beautiful. Everything else still has dust on it. And then the next time I have one of those fits, I just try to start in a different spot. And so then that way, but by the time I have that next fit, this stuff has already started to gather dust, but this has like the most. So then I start there and go around, and it's a vicious cycle. It's terrible. Oh, 3 days vacay this month to finish unpacking my clothes. Yes. Yeah, there's stuff in my like, I think there's stuff in my basement that when I moved, I don't think have ever been unpacked. I think they just got shoved down in the basement and I've never needed them. And so they've just never been unpacked. And I'm not looking to move. That I usually I'm a person who settles in. My last house I was in there for, I lived there with my ex-husband. We were together for 7 years and we moved in after he had been in town for like a year and a half, close to 2 years. And then I stayed there for a little while after he left. And so I think I was in that house for about 7 years. I get that 7-year itch. Usually about every 7 years, I'm like ready to move. But I have so much shit that it's like a nightmare every time I do it. But I always like want new space and new ways to decorate and things like that. I've been in this new house I moved in, I think, 2012 or 2013. So I've been there 13 or 14 years. And so the 7-year itch times 2 is starting to kick in. And so sometimes I look around. And so I'm like, just so that I have options, I should like clear out the basement. There's a bunch of stuff I don't need. and I should go through it. And the winter would be perfect because we always have, I don't know if other places have this, but we have what's called spring cleanup. And so you can put anything that you want out at the garbage, and like dumpster divers will come, and I'm all about it. Angie, my friend Angie, is a dumpster diver. I've been dumpster diving with her before. I did a show at the community theater where we had shit for a budget, and we furnished an entire set basically with that. It was happening around the time of spring cleanup, and we dressed almost the entire set with stuff I got dumpster diving. And so I'm a fan of dumpster diving. I love to put it out if you can put it to use, because sometimes like once I have to start thinking about, oh, I'm going to donate this or I'm going to try to sell it or whatever, it just gets to be too much. And so when I can just like, if I can put it into bags and boxes and things and just like take it out to the curb. And now Angie's part of this. I always call it the Curb Stompers group. It's actually like curb finds, I think, where you can put something on your curb, you take a picture of it, you post it and you say it's on this block, whoever gets it, and then you just look and see when it's gone, then you take it off. You take off the post. And so I've been having Angie post stuff for me, and then I'll just tell her when it's gone. Let's see. Okay, I have to go back. I missed a few. I had a pair of harem pants fall apart and caught myself ordering another pair despite having a box with like 15 pairs. Yeah, that's sometimes I do love to shop. I have cute stuff. I have Marie Kondo could never, because everything I have brings me joy because I buy fun, quirky, weird shit. And so it's hard for me sometimes to let go of stuff because I just like it. I have a washer in my garage from when I moved into my house in 2005. It was almost brand new, but the house I bought came with one. Yeah. That metallic Mario palette may be good for making mascara. Oh, that could be good for making mascara colors. Mama Champagne, I will never help you move again, and you know why. Yeah. I promise Georgia won't come and hide in the closet if we move again. When I moved out of that house that I had lived in with my ex-husband, that was such a process. And it's always expensive when I move because I don't like to move quickly. And so I always pay rent. I pay the first month on the new place and the last month on the old place as the same month. And I'm still rushing in the end. But then that way I have a full month. It's always so fucking expensive. I have to do it when I have like a bonus from work or something that will help pay for it. Because I always make sure that I double it up so that I have a full month so that I can bring, boxes over, a few at a time, a few at a time, a few at a time. And then, of course, I get to the end of the month and I'm like, oh, you've only done one room. So then we have to like all of a sudden pack really fast and like move it all. When I moved offices from the old office to this office, I hired movers. And I know that moving a house would be ridiculously so much more expensive. But I think, again, I would just have to like wait until I had a bonus or something because I can't imagine not doing it with movers again. It's so expensive, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. I should have sold it years ago, but I'm sure it doesn't work now. Yeah. I have an old car that's like that. I have a car that's been, I bought my new car, like I started making payments and stuff, and I still had my car that I owned and it was sitting in the back pad. And it had a couple things wrong with it, and I never got them fixed. And now it's just sat there for a few years. And I think I'm just gonna have to scrap it. I mean, I think you could probably go in, but it needs new tires. I'm sure it needs a new battery. I'm sure there's things that have to be replaced because it's just been sitting out in the elements for like 4 years. And so I'm just like, yeah, and I decided to have a rummage sale at the same time. Yeah, that was not good, but that's where it's tough. That's why sometimes just the garbage stuff, or if I can get someone to help me take stuff to the thrift, I can usually get stuff to the thrift pretty easily. But I have a hard time because that's one of the things that I've seen on like programs and stuff is that hoarders do, is that then they'll try to talk themselves out of getting rid of things because they'll be like, well, think about how much I paid for it. It's that like sunk cost fallacy or whatever. Like I've already put this much money into buying this, so I should at least try to sell it and then I can get my money back. And it's like, sometimes it's better to just let it go. Like how badly do you absolutely want it? I do like having a rummage sale sometimes. I haven't had a rummage sale for the last like several years. My garage is just not in a good shape. And I keep thinking every year, I'm like, this is going to be the year where I take the time to get this garage in shape and do another rummage sale, because I do kind of like when I sell some shit and then I got a little bit of money in my pocket. Like, I do like that. And I love hagglers. Like, I'm not a good haggler. I have a hard time going to rummage sales and haggling, but I don't mind hagglers. There's usually, like, at my rummage sales, there's a few things that I'm not entirely sure I want to get rid of. And usually those things, I'll be firm on the price, because I'll only want to get rid of them if I can get 20 bucks or if I can get $5 or whatever, where I'm like, I still like that thing, but if I can get this much, I'll get rid of it. Those I won't haggle on, or I won't go very much lower than what it is. But everything else, if people like offer me something, I'm usually like, yeah. And a lot of times if they offer it to me, if they offer and they have like if they have exact change, I'm also much more likely, because nothing is less than 25 cents. I get it. When I was a kid, I used to love rummage sales and you could get stuff for a dime or a nickel or whatever. I don't want to have all that change and shit in my cash drawer that I have with me, my little envelope. And so if you want to pay 15 cents for something, if you've got 15 cents, I will take your 15 cents. But if you need a dime back from a quarter, no, you can pay a quarter. I'm not going to keep dimes and nickels and all that kind of shit. Like, if you've got exact change and you want to offer me 15 cents, I will let you do that. Better keep that deposit. I'm not paying last month. I pay first month, last month. Yeah, so you pay here. I think I just it's been so, like I said, I've been in this place for like 13 or 14 years, and the person that I go through, she just makes you do the deposit, which is a month's worth of rent, and then you pay the first month when you sign the lease or whatever, and then you have your move-in date. So I didn't have to pay the last month's rent. But so yeah, if I moved again, I would have to do that again, where I'd have to pay for two different places at once. And I do think about it because I love having my separate space. I do like having a clear distinction between when I'm at work and when I'm at home. Although, as you can see, I do my YouTube and stuff here. So even when I'm not working, I'm in the office. And so, like, at some point, and I have an office space across the hall, but my rent at home is very, very cheap. And so when my site went virtual, I was like, oh, well, I either have to move into a bigger place so that I can work from home, or I have to get a separate office. And so far, it has made sense to have a separate office, and I like having a separate office. But, at some point, I'm like, if any of my places were to raise rent, what I'm paying between the office here and my home, I would start looking for a new place and just look for a place that's big enough to have my like home office YouTube studio be a dedicated room, and start looking. Because once I combine the rent here and there, because I'm always like, oh, I don't know if I could afford, more than I'm paying for rent right now. Well, I can't afford it right now because I'm also renting this place. If I didn't have to pay the rent that I pay on this place and the storage place across the hall, then I could afford more. Excuse me, pretty girl, because obviously I'm paying that amount every time, all months. So, yeah. Hey, Dion, junk. Junk it, get about 5. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking I'm going to have to do, is I'm just going to have to junk it. And sometimes even getting $500 around here is tough. A lot of times, like old junky cars, unless you really want to kind of work to find somebody who's willing to pay a little bit more, a lot of times you get like $100. It's kind of a bummer, but I may have to. Hello, everybody's saying hello. Hello, Don. How are you doing? Were you here earlier? You'll help me with the rummage sale if you promise not to move. Yeah, maybe we'll do that instead. Maybe we'll do a rummage sale. That might be fun. You think your kids will need it? Yeah, it's tough to get rid of stuff. That's the I don't want it sale price. Yeah, yeah, exactly. The I don't want to sale it price. Absolutely. Yeah, that's how I am, where I'm just like, I kind of want to get rid of it, but I kind of don't. And so then it's like, that's where I'm very much like, I want to get rid of it if I get 20 bucks for it. Like, some things I might have 20 bucks on it and they're like, will you take 10? I'm like, sure, I'll take 10. And then there are the things where I'm like, no, I got to get at least 20 bucks for that. I'm sorry. So, hello, Don. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't miss you. We've talked through my Beauty Bay collection. We talked through my the new Nomad cruise collection. I can bring that out again to kind of give you a quick little review if you haven't seen this. Not a review, but just like show you the pieces. We've got the. I haven't swatched any of the. These are the matte shadows. And these are the shimmer shadows. And then there are the two big brick highlighters, which are very cool. These I did swatch a little bit. This is the gold, copper, bronzy kind of one. And then here is the sunrise pinks. Yeah, so, and like, as I'm decluttering, that's the other thing is like trying to get stuff boxed up because I usually will sell my makeup. I usually sell it on Facebook. So like I do sit in my living room on Monday and Friday when work from home, got a desk chair. Yeah, I don't love working at home. I like to have I just received Nomad Royal Europe giveaway. Those highlighters. That matters probably is calling me. The mats. Yeah, the mats, they're good, but they're like just a little bit too muted. I wish that they were a little bit more, a little bit brighter. Hello, Locke. How are you doing? Yeah, I saw that and then I was like, the matters, because there was something I was like, maybe I was thinking Beauty Bay. I thought, oh, dark matters. No, it's dark fantasy. And then I was like, oh, she meant the matte palette. Is there somebody said hello place? Did I miss somebody? I hope not. Oh no. Hi place. Oh, are you saying like hi to the place? Um, hello. Yeah, so I hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing better. So if anybody was concerned about me, because of the worst I think is over. This weekend was a little rough. And we we definitely made some choices. If you saw my last live, you know we made some choices. We talked about some choices. We talked about too many things. We spilled so many secrets in the last live. So it happens when I have a couple ciders and just are tired of the world. So it was a little bit wild. But yeah, so that's what's going on here. That's nothing. I have been buying myself a few things. So I was on that little kind of like self-imposed no buy. And then all those Valentine's collections came out and I wanted like every single one of them, but I didn't have the budget for it. And I still, if you saw the live where I talked about that my debit card got hacked, I still have not gotten my money back. Can we talk about that? I still have not. My bank is usually really, really good. I don't know what is happening. They're still investigating. Like, I still have not gotten a refund for a single transaction. But I got my bonus at work. And now my bonuses are smaller because it used to be, because it's basically, I call it a bonus. They call it part of my compensation, but it's like a stock bonus. So if the stock goes down, it's not worth what they told me it was worth when they gave it to me. If it goes up, it's worth more. But it like fluctuates and you don't get it all at the same time. It's like you get it over a year and a half, 2 years. And now they've split the number of vests. So it's like unvested and then vested, all the vests. They've switched it to 4 times a year instead of 2 times a year. So I still get about the same amount, but I get it 4 times instead of 2 times a year. So they're cut in half and they're just more often. And so now when I get a bonus, it's less. But since I got that bonus, I was like, well, we maybe can pick up a few of the things we've been looking at. We can maybe do it. Yeah, I don't know I have no idea what's taking so long. I'm so frustrated. Usually because unfortunately this has happened to me before. And usually I get my money back right away. I think what it was is because the pattern was very different. And I might be the reason why this is taking so long. Because usually what'll happen is it'll be some outrageously large charge that they can automatically tell, like, it's pretty easy to say, this does not fit my spending pattern. Because it's been a couple times, it's been like hotel charges. And so like the first time it ever happened, I had a charge at like 2:10 p.m. in Grand Forks, North Dakota at Taco Bell for like $15 because she was living large, live Moss. And so like $15 at Taco Bell. And then like 10 minutes later, it was a $1,200 hotel bill in London. And so then they were able to look at that and be like, okay, that's crazy. Clearly you did not teleport from Grand Forks, North Dakota to London to go to a hotel. So that one, it went. This one is like a lot of. It took a while for them to catch it because I shop a fair amount, and so um, it was just a lot of like charge after charge after charge after charge at just like random websites. But because I tend to shop at a lot of random websites, it took a little while for the thing to kick in. Because then they realized, when it finally kicked in, they realized, oh, this is getting really random. Because usually for mine, it's mostly makeup stuff. Like it's Amazon makeup stuff and occasionally like a clothing thing. But this one was starting to get like tech purchases. And I think they started to purchase like online game stuff. And so it just kept going because a lot of times that's how like fraud will get detected first, is that like there will be a couple little charges to like online games and then they'll try to make a big purchase. So they'll just test it to see if it goes through and to see if it's working. And mine, it just kept being those like kind of like smallish, like small for me, where it'd be like $50, $60 at a pop. But then it ended up being, you know, six, seven, $800 of these things. And eventually it was like, and I think once they started getting more into like electronic games and electronics, that's where they caught it and like they set up the fraud alert. And that's when I got notified and we got it shut down. I got a new debit card and that whole thing. But because it's all these little things and because it kind of, in some ways fit my shopping pattern, but not totally. I think that's what's taking so long. So it's probably my own shopping habits that are delaying it. So I'm not going to get too mad at the bank because I do be shopping. I do be shopping. And since the bonus came in, I do be shopping because we have some more things we'll probably pop on live. I did order the Gourmand Girls not Halloween, Valentine's, the Bleeding Hearts. I ordered Bella Butte Bar. I got the Dead Roses and the Pinky Promise. What else were the Valentine's releases? The new Blend Bunny, the Diabla, and the new micellar water. I waited for the micellar water to come out and then placed an order because I also needed my Unveil. Let's see if I missed anything. How long can they? Yeah, I don't know how long they can investigate, but I'm hoping it hurries up. Something in China or somewhere I clearly went. Yeah, so that's once they started going. Somehow they routed it so that, like they couldn't tell right away with some of the charges, but so it's taking a little while. It happened again, so I had to wait. And so I think what happened for mine is because my debit card expired at the end of December, and let me tell you, my debit card, everything is hooked up to my debit card. So like my streaming subscriptions are my debit card. My car insurance is no, that one actually just goes straight to the account. So that one was fine. But a lot of things go straight to my debit card. And so I waited until I was updating things on December 31st. And some of my streaming service now, I was like, I had the show, I was doing the NetLab, so I didn't really have time to watch them anyway. So a lot of those subscriptions in January, I just let them expire. And I was like, when I have more time and I start watching more things, I'll go back and update the information then. I was like, I just have to keep Peacock so I can watch Days of Our Lives and Paramount Plus so I can watch Young and the Restless and Beyond the Gates. Although I'm behind on both of those shows, but yeah. So like so I was updating a bunch of stuff all at once, and that's how they think it got hacked. Is that I did something stupid when I was updating somewhere, or clicked the wrong thing, or did something, and so they think that's how. Because I had just gotten a new card, and then it happened, and so I had to get that shut down and get another new card. So. Yeah, it was terrible. It's inconvenience. Yeah, when you only have a debit card, it's tough. Set up your own alerts on your account. I think I get, oh, Tanya, you are a better person than me. I couldn't stand it if I got that many alerts. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, I'll let the investigators figure it out. Like, I don't want to get that many alerts. I have too many things taxing my tiny little goldfish brain. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Don, I did not get Unearthly. I have not gotten Made a Monster yet. I'm still thinking about it. I haven't gone to the site to see is it still up because I know sometimes like things will sell out and then it's another pre-order. So I'm trying to like, but I keep seeing swatches with it and I keep seeing looks and I'm like, oh, I love it. I love it. So I haven't gotten Unearthly, but we'll see. Maybe next payday. That might be a next payday. That might be something I treat myself now that I'm we're out of bonus time, so we can't be kind of crazy anymore. We have to kind of calm it down a little bit. So that may be something that happens on the next payday. The next season of Gilded Age, an Interview with the Vampire to come out. Ooh, I've seen the first episode of Interview with the Vampire, and I haven't had much time for watching things, and I think I need to. I think that's one that I need to get back into. I've started watching Mom. Has anybody watched Mom with Allison Janney and Anna Faris and Jamie Presley? And those are all the ones that I really kind of, excuse me, that I recognize. It's kind of good. I kind of like it because it's kind of that typical, like, sitcom kind of situation, except that it's also like very sad and takes on some very serious some serious stuff. She's teasing something else. Yes, I think she's doing a collab with that S Andromeda that did the whatever with that Dia Varun. They had that palette with them. I can't remember what it's called. I almost ordered that one. That one's still kind of on my list as well. That one from Dia Varun Cosmetics. I've held off because I've never tried that brand, and I've been trying to not like just randomly buy as many brands as I used to, like sticking. But I saw that S Andromeda, I think, is having a collab with Unearthly that looks like it's going to be very colorful. Can't have peeps playing on your money. I am kind of serious about my money, but I also don't want to be bugged about it all the time. That was one thing that I always said with, with relationships and stuff is if you cheat on me, that's going to be a conversation. Like we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about it. If you fuck with my money, my mom owns land in bumfuck rural North Dakota. No one will ever find you. I can find somebody with a backhoe. We can bring shovels. Like you fuck with my money, like you will disappear. Don't mess with my money. Don't mess with my money. That's all. Like my ex-husband and I, we had a kind of joint account that we each would put a little bit of money into if we wanted to like take a trip or do something like that. But we kept our own money to ourselves and we like paid our share of the bills and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, don't fuck with my money. Like it comes from that like poverty mindset. Like I was a broke college student for a long time. And I made a lot less than I do now for a long, long time. And so it was like always having to like figure it out and like being on kind of a tight margin where you didn't have like the luxury to have a bunch of money stolen or whatever. So yeah, like with relationships, money is always, it's much more serious to me than, not that I don't take cheating seriously, but I've also been like in a polyamorous like relationship. I don't know if I always would consider, I'm open to polyamory. I don't consider polyamory like part of my identity, but I'm open to it. And so cheating, less of a serious situation. You fuck with my money. Girl, welcome to 2020, 60 Minutes. You're going to be a docuseries. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. Just since I watched Mom. Yeah, I found it because I kept getting reels of it, like recommended to me on YouTube and Instagram. And so, and I thought it was interesting because there would be these moments that were really funny. And then there would be like really serious things. And so if you don't know what Mom is, it's basically Anna Faris is a recovering alcoholic. She's been in AA. At the beginning of the show, I think it's like 7 months. And then she runs into her mother, who she's been estranged from for years, who's also now getting sober. And they kind of reunite. And like Anna Faris has 2 children. And she like Her mom, Allison Janney, was kind of a terrible mother because she was an alcoholic and doing all these shenanigans. So Anna Faris is trying to repair her stuff because she has realized as she's getting sober that she was a terrible mother to her two children who have a lot of like resentments and things. And so she's trying to be a better mother. And so then they're like, well, why should we forgive you if you're not going to forgive your mother? And so that kind of leads to this reconciliation. But they take on like really serious stuff where I just saw a reel. I haven't gotten to this part in the show, but like they're at an AA meeting and all of a sudden Christy, the main character, they see this guy and they're like, ooh, all the other women that she's there with, they're like, who's tall, dark, and handsome? And she looks and she's like, I gotta go. And then she eventually reveals to her mother that they had been at a party. He brought out this Coke and he assaulted her. And now he's showing up at AA. So then it takes on these kind of questions about, this is somebody who is also an addict who is also trying to seek sobriety and trying to do the right thing. But when he was, he has to be responsible for his actions and he did this terrible thing to their friend. And so, like, how do you navigate? So it raises some of these really kind of interesting questions that I think are really interesting too. So I'm excited to keep getting through it. It's been some of the drama has been a little bit tamer in these earlier seasons. So some of the reels that I've seen are later on and they get a lot deeper into some of that kind of stuff. But text and email alerts, that hacking, investing, going through all that. It's only a problem. I only wish I had those alerts once it's happened. It's all the stuff when everything's going fine, then they just remind me that I'm shopping, and I don't want all that. Let's see. I thought about it when I was scrolling at the last house. I binged Dead to Me. That was really good. Yeah. Yeah, that's another good one. I've watched Mom, but it kind of got on my nerves with the fact that they're in recovery, yet they have a nice house and cars, etc. Yeah, there is some, and some of it is very interesting because they do, like Jamie Presley's character just got introduced right around where I'm at, and she's like rich. And I think what's interesting about that is that it shows that it's not like a poor person's disease, that it's not like addiction doesn't just impact. You can have somebody who's rich and who is like, looks like they're succeeding, but is actually going through this addiction. Car note people had double dipped me twice, taking out double pay. Oh yeah, see that would be bad. Yeah, and I've had that happen to me before too, where I'll be somewhere and I'll be checking out, and my card will get declined, and I'll be like, I'm like, I understand that I am a little bit white trash, but I was like, I know I got money, I know I have money because it is payday. I came here because payday was yesterday, and so I know I have money. Diveroon, is that okay? Diveroon. I need to look at if they still are selling that palette. I love that swampy green, purple, kind of grungy, swampy thing. I love it. Don't play with my time, money, or family. Yeah. Janessa, don't ever listen to stories about my second. Oh no, Janet, what happened? I hope he did not. If the money, that's the thing in a relationship with me that it's just I think when you don't come from money, like that is such a serious thing to me that like I'm much more willing to forgive other kinds of loyalty transgressions, but like stealing money and things like that I can't. 2020 die. Yeah. Welcome to 60 Minutes. They found the body in the parking lot. The movie Keeping Mom. I miss CJ in the West Wing. Bartlett for president. Just the earlier, yeah, Mom. So a lot of the clips that I'm seeing are later in Mom because they're in a different place, and then they just got at the end of season 1 they get evicted from the house that they're in. But loved Mom. Anybody watch Dead to Me with Christina? I have not seen Dead. I've seen little bits of it, but I haven't watched it. Joe, hello, Joe. Sorry I haven't said hello to you. Hello, fabulous Joe. I must be really behind. I'm trying to scroll up. Remember Dead to Me. Yeah. Hello, Joe. Hi, Joe. Yes, Joe. Hope you're feeling better. It keeps twisting and turning. It's so good. I love Christine Applegate. Her situation is so sad. Hello, 35K and 9. Oh, Janet, 35,000. The way they would never even find a piece of that body. The way Mama Champagne, I was never there. You never saw me. You didn't see the shovels. You don't have to work the old cow pasture. is just cow pasture. Nobody needs to know nothing. Nobody needs to look. Nobody needs to check. Forget about it. The way that they would never find the body. I would help them look. I would kill a bitch. I would bury him in the pasture and I would help them look. I would be on the search team. I'd be crying on the news. I would be like, "Where's my husband? Bring me my husband." Bobels, don't check there. You don't have to go there. That's fine. That's just my mom. Leave her alone. She's fine. Where's my husband? Nope. 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 Oh, who? What? Shovel? Where? I don't have. I would dig with my fingers. If I don't want to leave a paper trail, I would find a way. I would. Oh, $35,000, Janet. I'm mad for you. I'm mad for you. Oh. Mm. Mm. I can't. I can't. That. I just. Well, first of all, I'd have to have $35,000 for you to steal. That's so I don't have to worry about it. But I suppose little by little it like adds up and stuff, and it's like because the thing is like I've talked about the fact that like I'm terrible with money. I am not there's no adult steering the ship. I am not good with the right way to handle money. And that comes from, again, not to get too dark. I know we got a little dark sometimes this weekend, but if you like, I spent a lot of my life not expecting to live to the next milestone, if you know what I'm saying. So like for a long time, I was like, I'll never, like, I won't be around by the time I'm 30. Like whether it's like an accident, whether it's on purpose, like whatever it is, I was just like, I'm not till 30. And then I hit 30 to my surprise. And I was like, okay, maybe at 35, but that's it crazy. Here I am almost 50. So like every 5 years, it was like re-upping the like, oh, did we make it here? So like the idea of planning for the future, like my brain cannot process it. Um, cannot process it. Like I just cannot, it doesn't make sense to me. And so I'm very much like I live in the now. I see something. This is, this is $40. Do I have $40 right this minute? I do. Then I can have this. That's where I go. And I'm also like the whole thing about like somebody stealing from me is because I can be fairly generous. Like if I have money and we go out to eat and somebody doesn't have money, without a second thought, I'll be like, well, I'll buy you dinner. Let's do it. Because I care more about, and I understand that I should care more about money. So I'm not saying this to like act like I'm better or like whatever, but I value that time with people and with friends more than I value the money. And I know that sometimes gets me into trouble. And I know that sometimes means that I'm not prepared for things that I probably should be prepared for. But like, if we're going out and it's like, somebody's like, oh, I'm kind of broke. And I'll be like, well, let me buy you a couple drinks or like, whatever. I don't mind that. So like with a partner, like I paid for a lot of things with my ex-husband because there was a time where he wasn't making as much money. And I was making more money. And so then there were things that I paid for. It wasn't stealing, it was extraction. I would have extracted some teeth in payment. People that don't pay the bills and yeah, exactly. That's the thing and that's why I'm always like, even though I know I'm not very good with money, I also like my lights are on, right? Like my internet is always on. The garbage gets picked up and I don't have to worry about that. So like I'm taking care of the things that I have to take care of. And then the rest of the money, like that's where I'm frivolous or whatever. And I don't like, and I'm trying to make some changes. I'm always kind of working on it. And it's like, like with everything else, we're doing a waltz. We're doing 2 steps forward and a step back. And so, like, I'm working on being better. I'm working on making some changes to try to have more of like a cushion. So like this bonus, when it came in, I took a little piece of it and and we'll see if it lasts because sometimes I don't math right and sometimes things don't go so well, but I took a little chunk of it and I was like, this is going to go into savings and we're going to leave it there and we're just not going to touch it. And I know that like sometimes I'll look at something and be like, do I have the money? Yeah, I have the money. And so I'm going to try to be like, okay, but now when you're thinking about that, you can't consider that. You have to leave that alone. So I'm trying to do more of that. But I just, to me, I value people and the experiences and stuff more. Like, what if we don't get to have that conversation that we have because you couldn't afford to go out for drinks or whatever, right? Like if I'm with a friend and I want to spend that time, because I've also been that friend who needed somebody to buy my drinks also. And so I appreciate that and I try to pay that forward and I try to pay it back. And that was one of the things that happened with my ex-husband was that when I was the one who was making more money and was paying for more of the things, he loved that, of course. Then there was a time where when I graduated with my master's degree and I was looking around for a new job because I was working at the mall and I was working at a store that was closing and like all these kinds of things. Then I started looking around and I was making less money and he was making more money. And then he kind of resented. And I was like, I, I know that this feels like I'm coming for your money or whatever. Remember how there were years where I was the one, you were coming for my money? Like, that's what a relationship is. There's like this give and take. And so, uh, Tanya's checking accounts. I love that. Good with money. Always have been. I always try to treat myself in my yeah. Yeah, I try to, like, if I have the money, and then if I don't have the money, I don't. Like, and then I don't feel bad. Like, I don't feel bad if I can't get extravagant or whatever when I don't have the money. Um, just to me, it's like, it's one of those things that, like, it ebbs and it flows. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And sometimes it leads to poor choices. Like, I absolutely recognize it. Then there are times where my debit card gets stolen, and then I look around and I'm like, I have every color of eyeshadow I could ever want, and I can't order a burrito right now because somebody stole my debit card. Like that kind of shit. Like, so then I end up in these situations that I don't like, and so I am trying to make some changes, but I do like money to me is like, don't mess around with me because if I have the money and you just ask me, I might just say yes. Like it might be okay. But like people who want to like steal from you, I can't take it. Um, why are they there knowing they don't have any loot unless they told you up front and you decided to pay for them? That's different. Well, sometimes it's like, because like I've been that person who will go and I'll be like, I can order a Diet Coke. And like literally I can pay for a Diet Coke. And a lot of times, and there were times where I just said, no, I just like Diet Coke. And I really, actually, a lot of times, even when I have money, like I go out and I just order Diet Coke and sometimes I'll buy drinks for other people. But sometimes you can like, and so it's not that. I understand when people come and they're like, oh, I really wish I could have dinner, but I don't have any money, but I came here with you guys, even though I can't afford anything. So I get that. There's the people who like try to work it, right? But sometimes there's just like, you're sitting around and like everybody's having a drink and you realize somebody isn't having a drink or they're just having water. And then like so I'll be that person who sometimes will ask and be like, do you want a drink? Like let me buy you a drink, let me and I don't mind that at all, and I do sometimes feel weird when people offer during the nut lab. So we went out one night and it was just a few of us, and it was a night where we walked downtown because the tap room is this bar we like to go to. They have like ciders and beers on tap. I don't really like beers, but I like a fruity cider. And there had been this like things had melted and then there was like snow and ice. And so it was really icy and we got halfway there. And I was like, oh my God, I left my purse, my bag in my car. And I was like, you guys go on, I'm going to turn around. And one of the guys from the cast was just like, I'll just pay for you. And so then I felt bad because then we were already almost there. And so I let him. And then the next time we went out, I was like, let me buy you a drink. And he's like, no, I already got it. And so like I do sometimes, I don't expect people to like reciprocate, but whenever people like buy me a drink or whatever, I try to reciprocate if I can. And so because I feel weird about it. Money just is weird. I wish we lived in a world where we didn't have to like worry about those kinds of things, but yeah, a living in the moment problem. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And so usually I'm the one who offers. So I haven't encountered too many people who are like the sad, like trying to milk it a little bit of like, oh, I'll just sip this water. I wish I had a drink, but I can't pay for a drink. Oh, are you going to order food? I can't really order food. Like I know what you're talking about. I know that, but I haven't had a person, in my life like that for a while. It takes time to make changes. Yes, absolutely. Because And I shop my feelings. Like I really do. If I'm upset, buying something, like it's stupid and I know I should try to work on reprogramming my brain. That's one more issue to add to the EAP when I figure that shit out, is that like I need to blah, 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 blah. I need to retrain my speech. I need to retrain my brain so that when I get upset, I don't just go buy makeup, because that's what I do. And that's why I mean, I use a lot of makeup. So it's not like I'm buying something that isn't useful to me, but yeah, it's tough. I don't think alcohol, but if you want to buy me a Coke, leaving a bag in the car and someone offering is different. Yeah, and I tried to, because I felt bad about, because I had money, like I had my bag in my car, but I got to the point, like with rehearsal, because I sometimes leave things and forget things, and so I'm always worried, like especially with my bag, I'm worried I'm gonna leave it somewhere. So like when I would go to rehearsal, I always had to bring it, because if I leave the house and I don't have my bag, I get like anxiety. It's a little bit of my like low level OCD of like every time I leave the house, keys, cell phone, bag. Like I have to know that I have all three. But then when I go into rehearsal, to keep myself from leaving it in the theater, because the theater, once it's locked, it's really, because they have this like mag lock, and like somebody has to do it, like you have to text somebody, and like even if you have the fob, like it's just like the stage manager, I gave her the fob because I was like, I don't even want to learn this, whatever. So I would just leave my bag in the car, and then when we left out the front door, and so I was like, and then we were halfway there, and I was like, I don't have my bag, and I had that like panic moment. Hate money in general. I hear you, Joe. I hear you. Oh, yeah, the significance of it. That's the thing, is that like we're in such an ugly late stage, dirty version of capitalism, because there's like this sort of ideal of capitalism. I don't really mind. Like I like sparkly shit. And so if I have money and you have sparkly shit, and I'm like, can I give you this money and you give me the sparkly shit? Like that's how it should work. It's all the like the manipulation and the wealth hoarding, and it's just gotten so extreme, and we've destroyed the middle class, and there's no social safety net. Like all we're doing is contributing to these billionaire child rapists. Like I'm so tired of it. That's a whole soapbox I don't want to get into, but our government is run by pedophiles. Sometimes I just can't like stop myself. But um, next time, try filling up the cart and not clicking. I do that too, Tanya. I absolutely do that. I absolutely do that. And I've been trying to do that more with new releases when I see something, especially from brands that I love, is I will go and I'll fill my cart and I'll put in my influencer code, my favorite influencer's code, and I will see, okay, what's the total? What does that look like? And then I will try to let it sit, because Blend Bunny, I was surprised I let Blend Bunny sit, as that was the last one that I ordered, because they were releasing that micellar water, and I needed more of. I'm getting low on my Unveil. I love the Unveil skin balm, and now they have a micellar water. So I was like, well, I want to order two of these anyway, and I wanted to get the new micellar. And so I was like, but I put it in the cart and I looked at it and I was like, that's the one that I'm least interested in. So like, let's walk away from that. And eventually I do usually go back to them, but there are some things that I've ended up not getting, which is good, because I like to go. And sometimes that almost scratches that itch. Not really. Not most of the time it doesn't. Hello, Eden. How are you doing? Um, Yeah, but I love the fantasy cart. I did a video once where I did like because that's sometimes fun too, is sometimes even if I know I'm not going to shop, I'll do like the fantasy cart, where do you remember when everybody was making those videos of like their $1,000 Sephora cart, their $1,000 Ulta cart? I think I did Ulta. I might have done Sephora. And then I think I did like, if I had $1,000 to spend at indie brands, what would I buy? And I did a video where I did like the $1,000 fantasy cart among like 4 or 5 indie brands. And so I do like those. Let me know in the comments below or in the chat while we're still here, if you're interested in those kinds of videos. I would maybe make one of those again. Because that was kind of fun. I do like filling up a cart and sometimes walking away. Um, Yeah, and see if I want it after a few days. Sometimes it lasts a couple weeks. And occasionally there's something I don't get. A lot of times if I really want it and it's from one of my like key brands, because like I said, I don't just buy from every random odd brand anymore like I used to. A lot of them are my tried and true brands: Bella Beauté Bar, Blend Bunny, Gourmand Girls, um, kind of Unearthly, Made by Mitchell, Nomad, so some of those. But and Nomad, especially like Nomad, this one I just got the cruise collection. There's a couple of older ones that I've been looking at that I still haven't picked up from Nomad. So at some point I might get that Pacific Northwest. I think there's I think there's even one other. Oh, it looks like it's spun on me. So hopefully I'm still here. Let me know if you can still hear me. Eden, you made a purchase on the weekend. I love that. Hello, Eden. We're saying hi to Eden. Sometimes brands send discount codes to encourage you. Yep. Yeah. And that's the thing is sometimes if you fill up a fantasy cart, that's a great point, Locke, is that a lot of these now, like through Shopify and the different shopping apps, they can kind of track, especially if you're logged into something, like all the data sharing and all that shit. Sometimes if you create a cart and don't buy it, they'll send you a discount. And so sometimes, even if you are going to buy, sometimes filling out your cart, although a lot of times they are not combinable with influencer discount codes. So if it's a brand where you have an influence, usually the influencer code is better. But yeah, definitely check that out, especially if you don't have a code. When you're down and you're like, people helped you when I wasn't, other people didn't understand me paying it for. Yeah, like that's the thing is it's got to be give and take. Absolutely. Paying it forward. I'm here for that. Amazon favorites. Oh, good. So no buffering. Amazon favorite. What do you mean, Don? Like, do I have Amazon favorites or do I? I do have an Amazon wish list. I think I've stopped putting it on videos, but because I need to update it. It's so bad. But I did have an Amazon wish list that I would post for a while. I don't do as much on Amazon as I used to. Every once in a while it does that reconnecting, but it seems like it's still going. Glamlight will send you codes. Ooh, that could be good. I do love ordering from Glamlight. I've been loving I got to get that bubblegum lip kit. That's one of the things that I haven't purchased yet. I'm waiting to get onto that. Because right now they don't have really anything else I'm looking for except for the bubblegum lip kit. And I don't, oh, you like Amazon favorites? Yeah, I do add things into it. Let me tell you, I go to my Amazon cart, I add stuff, and then I go to save for later. If you go to my save for later list, girl, miles long, miles long. If I scrolled all the way to the bottom, there'd be shit there that I wouldn't even remember liking. That's what I like about Amazon is that save for later, because I'll put it in the cart to get the initial like, ooh, do I want it? And then I'll save it for later. And a lot of times, because Amazon, it's so easy to find just random stuff that I think is cool in the moment. And then I come back a week later and I'm like, what was I thinking? So that's been really good. And there's a lot of stuff that is there for a long time. And sometimes a year later I buy it. Like sometimes I keep it and sometimes it works out. So yeah, hopefully the buffering, I haven't had it spin for a little while. So hopefully, yeah, so hopefully that'll be good. But yeah, I think we're getting close to the end. We're at 1 hour and 42 minutes that we've been on here. So 600 things in my save for later that I go back and add stuff. Yes, that. Hopefully it's still there. Hopefully it's on sale. And I'll watch the little alerts because that's what another thing I like about it is it'll give you alerts about the stuff in your cart and on your save for later. And it'll be like, this one went up $5. This one went down $5. And sometimes if I've got, like, I feel like I've got a little bit of a budget to buy some of my Amazon wish list, I'll go on there and I'll go to the cart and I'll read those alerts and I'll be like, oh, these three things that went down, I'll buy those three because they went down. So I'll sometimes do that. I like to shop that way. Yeah, I do. And I like Amazon because, I mean, we've talked about it before. I try to keep my work life separate. But I think I've mentioned this before. That's the company that I work for. I do work for Amazon. So it doesn't matter what happens. I don't think I could ever fully boycott Amazon because even if I got laid off, even I think I would still have to shop through Amazon because I just do so. And the stuff that I buy is weird. Like, I'm a big old mouthy drag queen on the internet. So I buy a lot of weird shit. And Amazon really is the place to go and get all your weird shit in one place. Because I'm buying, cheap wigs and cheap costume pieces and weird props and lighting and all my lights that we have here, and when we have a backdrop is from Amazon. The chair I'm sitting on is from Amazon. Like, I can go and just get, and I get a little bit of an employee discount. It's not very much, but and so like I go and do all that kind of stuff, and so I do like Amazon. Boutique Diva, big sis. Yeah, a lot of the sellers who sell the cheaper stuff on Amazon, although like Amazon will never fully be Temu, and that's not a like dig against Temu, but it's because just the reality of selling on Amazon, there's enough like fees and things that it has to meet a certain minimum for it to even be worth it for them to be on Amazon. So it'll never fully go the route of Temu, although they've been trying to add more of those cheaper Temu kind of bargains and attract more of those kinds of sellers to different programs that they have, because they do these things called Amazon Haul, where like everything is $1 or under $1 or under $3, something like that, but where you get like free shipping if you buy like $25 worth of these cheap hauls. So then that way it helps make then they have lower fees so that people can make money on those little cheapy things, and it doesn't cost a ton to ship them because you order 30 of them at a time or whatever. Yeah, I don't. Angie has gotten a few things from Temu. They've been a mix of quality. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. That happens sometimes on Amazon. Like, sometimes things are good and sometimes they're not. But I find even with the cheapy stuff that I order on Amazon, the stuff that's not as good is better quality than the stuff that's not as good from other sites I've ordered. Other sites I've ordered from, excuse me. Pretty girl. The haul site, yeah. Yeah, for the haul, you're going to get long shipping. And that's, which I think is good. I think that as much as I liked it when it was true, like, Amazon really, like, have a good night, Janet. Thanks for stopping by. I think that 2-day shipping ruined things for a lot of people, because then people go to indie brands and they expect like 2-day shipping, and it's like nobody else on this planet is Amazon. Like, nobody else is doing that, and even Amazon isn't 2 days anymore. There's some stuff that's 2 days, and now, like, because in North Dakota we used to get 2-day shipping, and then like things kind of slowed down for a bit. Now there are things that I get within 2 days, and sometimes even 1 day, because there is a fulfillment center now down in Fargo, and we have a delivery hub here in Grand Forks. So like now there are a few things that are getting a little bit stuff. So yeah, and if you I used to love that when I was traveling a lot for work. They had the like same day delivery. Oh my God, because I would order some stuff to the hotel and I would just order it to the front desk, because I would be in these places for like 3-4 weeks at a time. So like when I was going, like I'd be in the airport getting off my flight, and I'd be waiting for luggage, or I'd be waiting to get off the plane. I would go on Amazon and I would order food delivery. So I would just order, because I always had to have in my room, I always tried to stay at a Homewood Suites. I loved a Homewood Suites by Hilton, because they had the little kitchenette. And because I just love salsa, and salsa, especially when I'm traveling. I just wanted to have chips and salsa, and I would order some soda to have in the room fridge, and I would just order like a food order, and by the time I got to the hotel, it was there. So it was perfect. It was so good. I loved that. For a while, they did Amazon restaurants, which was kind of like Uber Eats, or so it was delivery, but it was like coordinated through Amazon. I loved that because it made my expense report so much easier. When I do an expense report, if it's something you purchase on Amazon, submitting that is so much easier than any other site. Oh, it was so easy. It was because I traveled a lot, and so anything I could do to make those. And when you travel and you are gone for like, sometimes I was gone more than a month at a time. So like there were a couple stays where it was like 6 weeks. And so doing an expense report for a 6-week trip, shoot me in the head. Like, Oh my God, it was a nightmare. It got to the point where I would have to try to and some stuff like your credit card statements would start coming. And so they'd start asking you like, why haven't you done an expense report? And it's like, cause I'm still on the fucking trip, but I would have to do like an expense report for the first half. And then when I got home, I would have to do it for the second half. So like anything to make it quicker, I was all about it. I'm all about it. You pay a little more if you choose the quick. Yep. Um, I don't pay for Prime and I get lots of stuff next day. Yeah. Yeah, because if it's close by, they're not going to extend it out. So even if you're not Prime, can be absolutely good. Hello, Montserrat. Welcome. You're catching us kind of at the end. We're kind of winding down. Around this day, or I'll pick. Yep. And now that I have my office, because that's the other reason why I like having this office outside of my home, I haven't had too much of a problem with porch pirates, but I'm on like one of the main, not like the main roads, but like for residential areas, my street is like one of the main like thoroughfares, the through streets. And so they just leave it up on my porch, and so there's always that potential for porch pirates. And so I love now that I have that I have this office and I can get stuff delivered here. It's so much easier. Is my lunch? No, now it's an after work. So this is just an after work live. We're just going live. Ugh. Excuse me, I'm still fighting off this cold. For the collab discounts. What are the collab discounts? My coworker said Amazon was delivering at 5 a.m. That's one of the things I will say is a little trouble. Sometimes their delivery times need a little tweaking. Like gas Grubhub free delivery from Whole Foods. Yep. In 10 minutes from one Amazon center and 20 minutes from another. I received order in a couple days. Yeah, so it depends on, because if it's not at that facility, that's the thing. It's so interesting, like the network and like the bigness of it all, like sometimes boggles my head, because a lot of times they'll try to route things. Like if there's a trend of people ordering things, like if you ordered a winter coat and you're in North Dakota, you'll probably get it in a day. Because like Fargo, I'm convinced if that Fargo fulfillment center takes clothing, I'm sure winter coats get routed there and stuff like that, because it makes it so much easier. But yeah, if it's not there and they have to ship it, they still get it there in a couple days. So it may just be that the Amazon center that you have may not have the things. And also, I didn't know this until I started working here and started doing some of the stuff, is that like not all of them have, there's so many different kinds of centers. So some of them have the actual products. Thanks, Montserrat. I appreciate that. Some of them have the actual products. And then some of them are what they call sort centers. So like, it still boggles my mind that they can get something to you in like 2 days, because what they'll do is they'll send it from one fulfillment center to a sort center. That sort center will then send it to a delivery center, and then it goes to you. So that's why it can take like 2 days or 3 days or whatever, because, and that's why like when they have those like delivery within hours, those are marked that way because they're in the fulfillment center that's near you, and they know that they can pull it and get it to you in however many hours. But like the 2 days is actually pretty wild, because something might be in California and they'll get it to you in 2 days because they send it to these different places, and the whole logistics of it, like it's too big for my tiny goldfish brain. The last 3 houses I pet said I had packages coming. It was fun having things on the porch. I'm worried about, and North Dakota, like if I order makeup, you know, in the summer it can be 110 degrees. In the winter it can be -50. So like, I also like that our boxes are in the parking lot, but if it's a weekday when I'm working, by the time I hear about it, then I'll walk downstairs and it's been there maybe an hour. So, my mom paid for Prime and they never delivered to the door. Just went, oh, see, I hate stuff like that where they don't always deliver it. That is sometimes a problem. And like the hours are a problem. That's what I started to say. Pretty girl. Oofta. We have to go soon because I'm getting gassy. All this swigging this carbonated water. Because I've had this problem with deliveries here to the office, because you have to tell them whether it's a residential or a business. And then if it's business, you have to tell them what days the business is open. So I say that it's Monday through Saturday. And then I always tell them I put my business hours through 8 p.m. because I usually, unless I have meetings that I have to flex for, I usually work a 10 to 7. And a lot of times, whether I'm watching Dion's live, if she's live at night, or if I'm doing a live, or if I'm doing a makeup play day, or if I'm doing something, I'm usually in the office until at least 8 o'clock before I go home. And so I set the hours to 8 o'clock. And then I kept getting deliveries where they were trying to deliver at 9:30, at 10 o'clock p.m. And then they would be like, oh, there was a problem with the delivery. We need you to update your hours. And then I would go into the hours and it would clearly say 8 p.m. So then I would just say, update. And I would leave it the same and update. They'd be like, thanks for updating it. And it's like, you don't need me to update my hours. You need your drivers to look at the hours, because I've told them that I'm there till 8 p.m. and they're trying to deliver at 9 p.m. or 9:30 or 10 p.m. So that's why you're not delivering. It has nothing to do with what I've set my hours at. It's happening because you are trying to do it at a time where I didn't say that I would be here. So that's a little bit wild to me, but so it's been a learning curve sometimes. And one time I tried to call customer service and they were just like, we don't know how to fix that. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I understand. It doesn't happen that often. Usually they're here in the afternoon, but they have special pricing and payment options for Prime members. Yeah, I do like to look for those deals. Watching the little Amazon truck. And I also use Amazon. I do like the Amazon Prime streaming. I use Amazon Music. And so that is because I don't do Spotify. I do Amazon. All my music is through Amazon Music. Especially because I don't think they do it anymore, but it used to be if you bought a physical CD, you also got the MP3 album for free. They don't do that anymore, which is a bummer, because I like physical media, because the shit that you own digitally, you own until you don't. Because if that service shuts down, that happened with that movie company Ultraviolet, where all these people spent like hundreds and thousands of dollars to like get digital versions on this Ultraviolet. And then that company was like, oops, we don't have no money. We shut down now. And they're like, what about our movies? And they're like, we shut down now. Goodbye. Fuck you. And then it's like, oh, I guess it's just gone. I do like that they tell you how many stops away they are. I think that's fun. Now I see that they're a shipper too. Yes, I just got, so my Nomad cosmetics actually came from Amazon. It came through Amazon shipping, which again, I don't mind, because the post office can fuck off. You can eat my entire ass cheek. Oh, Postal Service. I'm so frustrated with them, because I think I've told this story a million times. So I'm sorry if you're hearing this again, but I'm mad enough that I'll repeat it again, because so this building where I'm at, our mailboxes used to be in the lobby. So there's it's not even really a lobby. It's literally, you walk in, there's a door to a business, like the Child Advocacy Center. There were 2 mailboxes, and then the stairs up to the second floor. And that entrance is the only entrance that gets you to the second floor. And that's where all the mailboxes were. Well, apparently that was trauma drama, and the post office was mad. And there was some dispute about whether the building owned the mailboxes or the post office owned the mailboxes. And that's why there ended up being 2, because one was owned by the building, one was owned by and it was like a mess. So then they were like, we're not doing it anymore. We're not going to deal with this. And so the post office moved the boxes outside to the parking lot. So we still have 2 sets of the mailboxes and 2 sets of package boxes. Howsoever, now we've stopped getting deliveries on Saturdays. And instead of actually like coming, because what I never understood is that sometimes the building would be locked on Saturday. It's not supposed to be, but whoever's managing it, whatever they're doing is a little bit sketchy. It's not really worked out. And so sometimes the door will be locked at times where it shouldn't be. It happens, right? So then the post office person would be pissed off because they would try to deliver something on a Saturday when the boxes were inside. And then they would get pissed off, and then they would stop delivering for a while. And then somebody new would come on and they'd deliver it. But they were at least making the effort. And so they would have to put like business closed, and they wouldn't deliver. Now, when something is going to come on a Saturday, if it's our usual postal carrier, who most of the time I like him, But if it's our usual guy, he'll just refuse it at the station. So you'll get a notification saying that like couldn't deliver, business was closed. But the alert is from like 6:50 a.m. in the morning, and it's like nobody was here at 6:50 in the a.m. trying to deliver a package. They were still sorting the mail. So whoever was sorting that route said, "Oh, we don't deliver there on Saturdays," and they take it out. Now every once in a while we get a new person, it seems, because they do deliver here on a Saturday. But it infuriates me because I went in to complain, because one time I went in because I had like come to the office specifically because I knew I was getting a package and I wanted to film with it. And I was on the way, and luckily, because our post office on Saturday is only open until 12:30, and so luckily it was in the morning, and so I saw the alert, and so I just went past the office and I went right to the post office, and I said, "I've got a package to pick up," and the woman was like such a snot, and she was like, "Where's your slip?" And I was like, "I don't have a slip. They didn't bring a slip." She's like, "They always have to bring a slip, and they don't." And she's like, I was like, "Stop." I said, "My building," and I showed her the alert. I said, "The alert is at 6:50 a.m. Nobody was trying to deliver that package at 6:50 a.m. I said, "The delivery carrier has tried to explain to me." He said, "There's something with liability, blah, 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 but they don't even attempt the delivery, so I know that it's here. I would like my package." And she starts going, "Well, if the business is closed and there's a problem," I was like, I don't care. Like, whatever you're telling me, I don't care. Like, the boxes are in nature, so the business is never closed. The business could be accessed. Those boxes can be accessed by anyone 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, because they're in the fucking parking lot. They're in the nature. They're not in the building. So, like, the whole closed excuse, I don't care. I understand that you can't fix it, but I need you to not justify it. I need you to just go get my package. Here's the address. And then because I didn't have a slip, I had to like write down the address. So then she went and got it. So now with Nomad Cosmetics, when that came, instead of coming through the postal service like it usually does, it came through Amazon shipping, because Amazon brings it right up to my door. It was right up outside my door. And they came on a Saturday, and I was like, yep. That's how it should work. That's how it should work, because we don't have a lobby. And so it should either be, because sometimes FedEx gets a little lazy and they'll just drop it off in that fake lobby downstairs, because that lobby is not secured. There's nobody in there. The little child advocacy thing, they have like a Ring doorbell, but now they have a sign up that says the doorbell doesn't work. And so you have to like knock or you have to call or something. But I don't know if that means that the camera doesn't work, because like technically if they had a camera, you could like kind of figure it out. But yeah, like FedEx and sometimes UPS, although UPS is better about bringing it up to the door, but they'll just leave it downstairs. And like today I got something from UPS or no, it was from Amazon. So this time Amazon didn't do as good of a job. They usually do a pretty good job of getting it right to my door. The person apparently couldn't find my door, and they left it on a coffee table like halfway down the hallway. But at least they brought it in, and they came to the second floor and just didn't follow the instructions, because it's super easy to find my office. And I have the little instructions. I'm like, you go up the stairs to the second floor, through the door. There's a hallway to the left, and I'm the second door on the left. They went to the right and went halfway across the building and then just left it on a table. So, yeah, there's issues with all the delivery services at some point. Some have tendencies to be better than others, but FedEx, from my experience, has been the worst. UPS is touch and go, and then the UPS, like, it's just the whole Saturday thing, but most of the time they get it downstairs and they're fine. But yeah, it's just that whole Saturday thing that pisses me off, because I don't know what happens. I don't know why so many of my packages end up coming on Saturdays. And I just am like, I just need that fucker to just bring my packages on a Saturday. Because a lot of times, if I don't have anything that I'm doing, I have no problem coming to the office on a Saturday and getting my packages and opening them and getting everything put away. You know, this is where I do my big kid job, but it's also my space. It's my fun, like, YouTube office as well. So I don't mind coming here and spending time. So if they would just deliver it when it's supposed to be delivered, that's all I need. Okay, we are over 2 hours, so we should probably go. I think I've caught up with most of them in the walkway or on the lawn before. Yeah, that sometimes I've had good luck with our delivery drivers here, but North Dakotans are a little bit of like prissy rule followers anyway. So I got looked like it had been drop kicked to the end. Yeah, that too. Yeah, so thanks everybody. I hope everybody's having a good night. Let's see if I remember my outro. Thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to leave a comment. Replay crew, you rock. We love to see your comments. And those of you who came to the chat, if you wouldn't mind circling back and leaving a little comment, help me feed the beast. Feed me, Seymour. Let's feed the algorithm. And while you are down there, don't forget that you can give me that thumbs up to tell me that you appreciated the video. Or if you are a Krabby Patty, if you are my USPS driver, and you're mad that I was talking shit about you, then you know what? Give me that thumbs down. It is all engagement. The algorithm isn't a picky bitch, and neither am I. And while you're down there, don't forget that the and while you are down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and become part of the family. Hit the bell icon so you'll be notified every time I do an upload. I try to have at least one video or live per week. Lately, it's been a lot of lives, I know. And sometimes, if you're lucky, if you're very lucky, you might even get a bonus video. Ooh, bad delivery experience horrific. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website, but just pretend it's there, The World of Champagne at janessaj.com. Somebody at one point said that I should get like a little scroll or something that I can open. I should do that. I should surprise everybody with that one of these times. But thank you everybody for stopping by. I do love and appreciate all of you. I absolutely do not take it for granted that you come and spend this time with me. I love this little community that we have here, and I treasure all of you and all of the new people. We love when new people stop in and join the family, and we're just a fun group. We're just the cool kids. We're the cool kids. Yeah, so I love it. I love and appreciate all of you, and until I see you again, bye. Beast. I don't know what that's in reference to, Don, but all I think of is if you've seen that clip from The Real Housewives where Kyle Richards, her blonde sister, I always forget her name, I don't care, she's boring to me, but she calls Eileen Davidson a beast, and Eileen is like, beast? I love that. All right. Have a good night, everybody. I love and appreciate all of you. And now I got to awkwardly bye and find the end of the stream. Where is it? Okay. It's right up there. Okay. Bye. Oh.